I'm at the point now where I'm like, oh man, the Defenders, I kind of just want Daredevil to be in its own stratosphere. I am, of course, DJ Miles, and with me is my friend, co-host, pilot, Christian Torres. Christian, how are you doing today, sir?
Appreciate being called a pilot. I've always wanted to be one, but, I'll settle for being your co-pilot on this show, man. Thanks for having me.
I don't know if a lot of people knew this. Going in prior to What's in the Box, we had a segment called TV Casualty, and we had a great intro for that. So let me go ahead and just play that just for all of you guys to see. Something clearly happened this week because the only casualty that we will be talking about is none other than your boy, Iron Fist. Christian, there's a lot of stuff to talk about with this story, but where do we begin breaking down this story? Hot off the presses, by the way, because you and I, as we were prepping last night, we're like, man, we have to have one more meat and potato for What's in the Box. And me and Christian, we're scrambling around. What are we going to do, guys? And then, of course, well, Netflix was just so kind to send us something like this. So, Christian, initial thoughts. How do you feel about Netflix canceling Iron Fist?
First of all, I resent the fact that you said my boy as if I've ever claimed ownership over Iron Fist, right? Fuck that noise. Aside from that, dude, I'm not a big fan of the show to begin with. It wasn't like something that was on my cultural radar. After we got to that like fucking Mortal Kombat episode where he's just going through boss after mini boss, You know what I mean? I think I was kind of done with the show at that point. And it's sad because hear me out. Defenders tried to course correct, right? Defenders try to make him the butt of all the jokes. Like, yeah, we get it. He's the worst. We get it. That's season 2. Everything I've heard is a vast improvement and didn't fucking matter. Like there was no amount of damage control that they could do after the fact that would have made that first season leave anyone's minds anytime soon. It's a little bit sad, man. It's one of the original 4, but when this partnership first started, there was so much like buzz and goodwill about it, and it's kind of sad to see it fizzle out a little bit. And granted, it's only one character, but still, it's a little sad, right?
Well, you know what's crazy with the whole thing in general is that even when they did the casting, a lot of people were already scratching their heads. And again, it's not like Disney wasn't getting any flack, right? With the whole Doctor Strange of it all, right? With, casting characters from different races and, cultures and all that into the wrong roles, right? We need some more, diverse casting. Why are we having a white male play this character? That was already a red flag, as if they didn't get enough, slack from the Doctor Strange of it all. And, just seeing this character progress to what the Defenders was. I mean, look at this shit. It seemed like everyone was pretty much fitting in. And then for people who've seen season 1 of Iron Fist, listen, I'm not trying to watch USA Suits because I felt like that's what I watched half the season. Oh, and by the way, we will be talking about spoilers for Iron Fist season 1 and 2, if anyone really cares. But, half the season, Christian, you said you saw about, what, halfway of it?
I think I saw the first 7 episodes of season 1, and I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I'm going to take a pass.
I mean, there's a point where I'm watching half of it, and I'm like, we're watching some court scenes happening with people who isn't Danny Rand and all that stuff, and why should I care? And do I care? They're just... It's a little disappointing to hear with Iron Fist. So because there was so much potential, and even though season 2 had or improved in many ways of what season 1 was, ultimately it wasn't enough for Iron Fist to be saved ultimately. So I have a quote here from Netflix and Marvel themselves that says, Marvel's Iron Fist will not return for a 3rd season on Netflix. Everyone at Marvel Television and Netflix is proud of the series and grateful for all the hard work from our incredible cast, crew, and showrunners. We're thankful for the fans who have watched these 2 seasons and for the partnership we shared on this series. While the series on Netflix has ended, Christian, get ready for this, the immortal Iron Fist will live on.
Well, obviously not necessarily. Unless, listen, man, the language in there says it will not return for a 3rd season on Netflix, right? Disney has the IP. right? So maybe this isn't dead after all. Maybe it's just the end of the Netflix portion of this. And I think Netflix was like, nah, you can have that shit. We don't want it, you know?
No, of course. I mean,
yeah.
what do you think of that mouse, dude? Of course. You know, there's one of those things I'm thinking. Let me ask you, though, with the success or not success of Iron Fist, do you think a lot of this was, well, hey, we're getting ready for Disney. You know, Disney's getting ready for their streaming service. If this isn't doing that well or as well as we want it to be received, how about let's just scrap this shit. And, you know, I think for Netflix, it was also a loss as well, right? Where they're like, yeah, we don't need this. So go ahead and give it to Disney, you know, and let's see what they can do with it.
No, I mean, the mouse is always looking for more intellectual property, right? So, like, I just feel like it was one of those things where Netflix realized that there was just not enough good buzz about it, man. And again, it's like it's solely the fault of the beginning of season one. I think season one, and I heard even the end of season one was okay. I don't know, I didn't finish it, but the point is this: that like it was just such a bad initial premiere. Like think about Jessica Jones premiere, solid premiere. Daredevil premiere, solid premiere. Luke Cage, solid premiere. Now you can say whatever you want about the seasons in the middle of those and whatnot, but like nothing about Iron Fist was arresting immediately. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the fact that there clearly wasn't care through like edits. And this is the same thing with this fight. Like there's nothing interesting or even like inspired with the choreography at all, right?
Yeah.
It's like really, really bland, but they're trying to fake you out by cutting it so many times. And now do me a favor, dude. Compare that to episode 2 of Daredevil, right? The infamous hallway scene. Like you throw that on, man. That's a wonder. It's a 3-minute, one-take shot where everything has to be so perfectly choreographed that if anything goes wrong, you know what I mean? That ruins the entire take. You see this, and then you see Iron Fist, and you're just like, well, obviously there was not nearly as much attention to detail, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because Iron Fist 2 apparently ended on a huge cliffhanger, but after seeing the trailers that we've been talking about for weeks with Daredevil, it's like I'm at the point now where I'm like, oh man, you know, the Defenders, I kind of just want Daredevil to be in its own stratosphere. But I will say this, there might be some silver lining in this, Christian, because if anything, they said there are some speculations here with these two characters that the Daughters of the Dragon spinoff might be starring Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. That Netflix might want to do this because the actress in Luke Cage and Colleen Wing in Iron Fist 2, they did a good job. They weren't problems with the show. If anything, they were one of the saving grace from the shows, right? And I thought Luke Cage was pretty good overall. So
yeah, do you remember when I complained about Punisher season 2? And I'm like, man, they made Matt Murdock a secondary character. Like I cared more about Punisher, more about Carrot, more about basically everybody than I cared about Matt Murdock in season 2. And it's just like, okay, I take all that criticism back because like she's the best part of season 2 of Iron Fist. That's all I've heard from everyone. Like they marginalized Danny Rand to a secondary character basically. Right. Mm-hmm. But it still didn't save the show. It wasn't, they did like, my God, dude, there was just a gulf between the two shows, man. It was glaring.
When you see something like this, you think it was also the executive decision of Disney just saying like, hey, yeah, let's just scrap this shit because whatever was good was okay, but ultimately we can do it better, you know? So,
well, you know, I think also it's like all the buzz for Daredevil season 3 is really, really solid. Like the best buzz since the first season, which I know is hard to do because it's like comparatively the second season's always going to be usually negatively compared to the first one. Mm-hmm. But people are saying they're really loving the third season. I think maybe it's like, hey, we got rid of the bad thing and we're good again. All right, come back. Like watch the rest of our shows.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one last thing I wanted to say is, well, now if there is a Defender season 2 or if there's a Luke Cage season 3, because we haven't had any official word on whether or not Luke Cage season 3 is going to happen. But if it does, do you think, listen, even if there is an Iron Fist season 3, that whatever plot lines they had for a season 3 of Iron Fist might be shoehorned in with the Luke Cage?
Yeah, but just because it's like, well, they're not going to forget that this whole thing happened with this character, right? Although it would be awesome if they did. If the next like Netflix shows all completely never mentioned Danny Rand again or Iron Fist or any of the like misadventures they went on, that would be the fucking boldest narrative move ever because Netflix is just going to erase that guy from existence. But since that's unlikely, I think they're probably going to have to at least mention him, have him show up in some of the shows or at least tie up some of the loose ends.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, guys. Well, that's what we think about Iron Fist being canceled. I mean, hey, some people, a lot of people were saying hooray, hooray, and a lot of people were saying, well, that kind of sucks because there was some potential. But now we know, dude, even in this cutthroat business of TV, where again, Christian, we have to like, we fight amongst ourselves all the time of like, dude, this is what we got to watch, this is what we got to, discuss. And then when you see something like this, it's like, yeah, you got to leave because we can't tolerate some bullshit.